got two minutes till.
That clock.
So how much longer on the road?
Should be like July, mid-July. Is when it's supposed to wrap up, so. Just as, when they get done with this sewer that they're putting in, once they get started on the road, they said it'll go pretty quick. It's just the sewer that's taking the longest.
I haven't even drove down there, so
Yeah,
I'm
don't
just
try,
wondering.
it's a mess.
looks like it.
But they're moving along, they're working out there every day, except weekends.
When is Woodlawn gonna be done?
No clue, that's not my shop.
Not his, not his service.
No. I think a lot of people have that question.
I just don't expect
They're
it to be
still
done.
You know,
litigations
lifetime
and stuff,
maybe?
aren't they?
Yeah,
Yeah, there's, the lawyers are fighting
It's
about
all
that.
caught up in lawsuits and everything else, yeah.
yeah, it's,
One part there, go there.
yeah.
I don't know why they don't just finish it and see how it works, you know? I don't think it's
So
really
it's-
racing.
Well, they can't because the ground's
Yeah.
sinking. They
Yeah,
drive
it's
over.
So when they were
Sink
digging
right
it,
into
they
shit,
kept
just-
trying to tell the engineers
Okay.
that it's, there's water under there, it's wet. And the engineers kept arguing with them, they're like, no, this is how we want it done. And they're like, okay. But it ain't right.
All right, we'll go ahead and do roll call.
Eric.
Here.
Cheryl,
Here,
my notes are different than up there. Oscar,
Yes, ma'am.
Richard,
Yep.
Mark.
I'm here.
And approval agenda.
I so moved.
A second.
Motion by Oscar, second by Eric, to approve the agenda as written. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Looks like we're just here for the unfinished business, vacation, EA 2025-01, 1500 East Mason, partial vacation, complete access control. So Justin, go ahead, did you find any
So your question of can they reduce the number of driveways on the north side of that property? No, they can't, because that's what this request is all about, is having those two north side driveways, having access to it. That's what their request is. Why the sidewalks were put in, we are unsure. The best guess that we can get is that it was supposed to be a part of Bel Air and Parks, or Kechi, sidewalk or walking path at some point. And that's probably not going to happen, just because plans have changed and there's no overpass for, Woodlawn, I'm sorry, Rock Road over there on that side, the east side. So, could it still happen? Yes, but we don't think that it's gonna happen for years and years and years from now. We're talking at least 15 years. So, other than that, I think, were there any other questions that I've missed?
No, I did drive over there. It's an extremely small lot that I thought, but.
Right.
For that many drives, but. I mean, it seems like the one on that cul-de-sac would be sufficient for the parking lot, but that's just my opinion. Anybody else got any?
So you're saying that they have to have four, they have to have, 4 driveways?
They don't have to, but that is what they are requesting.
Okay.
Dustin, did you have an answer on why the access control was put in Antigua for that property?
We have no idea. It goes back to why the sidewalk was put in, the access control for the Tigua itself, we are unsure. Is that
Yeah,
your
I talked to
understanding now?
our city attorney, and he doesn't know why there was access control put in there. Maybe at the time it was a main road and it was part of the plat, they didn't want any drives there, but, you know, as things changed, I mean, of course, they didn't know, they couldn't predict what types of businesses were gonna come in, so.
So what the way I understand, the state put that road.
Well, I think,
They split the cost.
some of the
each-
funding was provided by KDOT, correct?
They split the cost.
Right, because of their campus down there with all the trucks and everything, right? Cause I mean, they're pretty heavy users of it, so their trucks are coming and going all the time down there.
Okay, any other discussion?
Yeah, and then with the safety issues, so we're gonna need to then talk with the police chief about the signs. Is that, are we still gonna need to do that?
Well, as I was, driving by there as well, when there is a street on Tigua that's breaking that sidewalk, there are tactile bumps on both sides of the sidewalk. I don't know if that's something that we can ask to have also put in the driveway. And then, is there also a street that's supposed to be built like further east? Cause there is a break in the driveway, or there is a driveway with already tactile bumps on there.
I
Is
don't
that
think,
supposed to be a street?
It-
'Cause-
no, I believe the streets would have all been put in place by now.
Okay,
During the plating process and the creation of Tigua itself. Those are gonna be, I believe those are supposed to be just strictly driveways.
okay. So, yeah, that would probably, that would resolve my concern if there was some type of tactile bumps breaking up that walkway
Okay.
or walking path. I don't know if stop signs are there because there isn't already a precedent in that area, but
Or some sort of,
there's
You know,
a
like-
beginning and an end on the walkway where it says
Yes.
trail ending.
in trails, yeah,
Yeah, on both sides of
right.
that.
Yeah,
But there
there
is-
is, there's a,
From here all the way over to the
yeah,
house.
and there was a lady with her
Huge.
stroller,
Oh, this one.
when I was down there.
That's the same.
So as long as there's like some sort of,
Right.
you know,
Yeah,
sign
What
or,
do they want to do?
you know,
They want
pedestrians,
to put in a drive.
you know, something.
Right now, so, that's what we do. They want to, put a drive here and a drive here. And when this was platted, there was access control. They couldn't have driveways over on this road. And they want to take that off.
But leave the sidewalks.
Yeah, sidewalks are saying.
The sidewalks will stay. And I think to alleviate any safety concerns, state law says that anytime you're exiting private property and entering a roadway, you have to stop if there's a sidewalk there. And in fact, I think it says just anytime you're exiting private property, you're supposed to stop before you make a turn onto there. So, just somebody, I mean, of course, somebody could just race through there and not stop. But the law says that you're supposed to stop,
Mhm.
look both ways, make sure it's safe to go, so. And as far as putting stop signs or some type of sign on the sidewalks, those would only be for, I guess, safety issues only, they wouldn't be enforceable. None of that is enforceable because it's on a sidewalk and not on a roadway.
Well,
Right,
if you
but
look
the
at
con-
that, there's access, places on more, or busier streets than that, on 61st and Oliver. We don't-
The concern is the clear through because of the trucks.
Right, and like they explained to us, that's for deliveries only. So
Mhm.
those trucks aren't stopping in the street
Mm-hmm.
and backing up, which is just another safety issue.
Right,
So those trucks can go straight through.
right. That's not, there's nothing that says for trucks only, there's nothing that's gonna,
That's, some different.
you know,
Well, you can't control that.
you can't
private
control that,
property. No.
right, so that's what I'm saying,
With truck
you know.
here, so.
So
No one's got
I
it.
was talking, like, see, there's
Right.
those little bumps that they
Yeah.
put in there on both
Yeah.
sides.
Because it says man store.
But then there.
Absolutely.
Those are likely ADA requirements for those type of ramps, so I would imagine those have to be built in anyway, because those are ADA required.
And what are they wanting to put in there?
It's Thermal Connect is the business that's going in there. They manufacture, the way it was explained to us, manufacture, like, when you join two wires together for aircraft, it's a special connector that they make, and then they're bringing two additional businesses with them. One's a windshield wipers for classic cars, and the other one is the Friendship Light. So they'll be having, trucks coming and going from there, unloading and loading in the back. And then other businesses, because there's other suites that he's building in there too, so we don't know of any other businesses.
So they weren't supposed to have those. That's what it was.
That's not nice.
I'm sorry.
There's a sheriff there, and I'm like, I am at the wrong place.
We didn't see you go in there, we just figured you got arrested.
Here you are.
Sorry
Okay, but these buildings are.
about that.
This,
Well, then there's like, don't drive this
Did you find a parking spot?
here.
Yeah.
any other discussion?
My only curiosity is, what is the pedestrian, traffic count, if you will, along that sidewalk? I go by there all the time and I don't see
Yeah.
anybody at all.
We have no
But
clue.
there
What
must
page are
be
you on?
some folks who would walk through it. It's an industrial area, I mean, it's not your recreational park.
So this
I
is
don't
I go
have a
to
discussion,
problem with it.
correct?
Yeah, just about
Okay.
3 to 5 minutes ago. Yeah, we don't have any pedestrian counts on those, or anything.
Okay.
Like you said, it's an industrial area. Just the times that I've been out there, I'll see a person every once in a while, but it's not consistent out there by any means.
Now I
So-
start looking, cause y'all bring it up, right, so when I go through there, every time I look now, and every time I've gone by there, since last week, was it?
Yep.
Yeah. I've seen somebody.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I just was thinking, it's nothing like the city park.
No.
No.
Oh, heavens, no.
No.
Oh, no, no,
No.
uh-uh.
But it's over here for a reason, cause it's industrial. So I drove through it probably 3 times a day. I didn't see anybody walking down the sidewalk. The only thing that says trails end is when you leave the sign.
Mhm. It's on both ends.
I didn't see it at the very end, cause I wound up at the FBI building.
Oh, the ABI, Highway Patrol, yeah.
Yeah, that's where I wound up driving through it, but, that's what it was zoned for.
Yeah. Mhm.
All right, if there's no other discussion, then entertain a motion.
I do have a question,
Go ahead.
Richard. So Dustin took a note about the tactile bumps, and maybe that's part of ADA requirements. Is that something that we're not discussing here? That would be
You
the,
could put that on there
okay,
as a condition.
okay.
You're talking about like, when I built over here, they made me put those things in. Yeah, I don't understand what,
Yeah, like I said, I believe they're ADA, they're just required as part of those ramps, those sidewalk ramps.
but you don't always see them put them in.
No,
I don't know, I mean,
but more and more you
do
do,
you-
I think it's just standard that they put them there. And
Yeah,
and you could put it as a condition, and then before it goes to city council, this week, we could run it by the city attorney and they can always take that off.
Are you talking about the sidewalk?
Yeah, they're talking about like where the sidewalk is, putting those little tactile bumps right here.
There's a picture of them
Yeah,
in there.
which I believe are required, an ADA requirement
I
for,
think they are for blind people, so they know they're at the
yeah,
street.
or wheelchairs, so they don't roll off, right?
Right,
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you either have to put lines or them little round bumps.
yeah.
But there is a park that we have that with a pond and stuff, and trails for people to walk in the neighborhood. It's not what that was.
Right,
for.
that's more of a residential area, the
This
park
is-
and stuff.
This is,
Well, it was, the reason they did that was so the people could come from the other housing
Oh,
development.
Rock Point,
And eventually they wanna put sidewalks down 61st and tie it all together.
but I don't, there's no sidewalks coming out of Rock Point that tie it in there, so.
I'm just telling you what.
Yeah. No, I know.
It's since
I bet
been
you're right, yeah.
updated.
You know, and that,
Yeah, and I heard that too. I mean,
That's
we've
what I
had a
heard
bunch of
from-
different reasons why those
cause
sidewalks.
if you don't live in those
so-
duplexes, you gotta drive to get here.
I know that, well, like
So-
when Joe, when he lived up there, he would walk to the barn.
Yeah,
You know, I mean, some people do,
Sure,
most people, no, but some people do.
sure.
That sidewalks aren't, we can't fit sidewalks all the way to Woodlawn anyway on 61st.
Yeah, it would take a lot.
Yeah,
We'd have to buy a lot of easement.
that's
Yeah,
Terry's
ditches.
gripe too.
Yeah.
No
well, and
sidewalks.
Yeah,
it's dirt,
It is a safety issue when you try to walk along there.
Woodlawn.
on 61st.
no, anybody wanna make a motion?
Guide me through this, but that would be
The
number
second one.
2 for me.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. I move that the planning commission adopt the findings stated in the zoning minister's report for case VA 2025-01 and for the recommendation of approval to the governing body regarding the requested vacation of complete access control in the I-1 industrial zoning district based upon the zoning district, subject to the following conditions changes. And that would be that we ask or request that those tactile bumps for ADA compliance is fulfilled.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Okay. Motion by Eric, second by Cheryl to approve zoning recommendations for approval of that with that conditional tactile bumps. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, unanimous. All righty, that concludes the business. And we want to make a motion to adjourn.
That's all good.
I
Motion
second.
by Esther, second by Eric to adjourn, all in favor?
I
Opposed? Motion carries.